Hi, my name is Gudrun from GE Designs. Welcome to my live quilting chat, Tipsy Tuesday. Hi everyone, and welcome to our 47th Tipsy Tuesday episode. We have a lot of new viewers with us, and so welcome everybody, and I really appreciate you having you with me here tonight and being live especially. So make sure you check in by adding your name in the comments and where you are watching from. It's always fun to see people from all over the world tuning in. Now, we're lucky to have this show here tonight because it was not intentional to have this day be a show day, because I was supposed to be on a cruise ship teaching, and I think we would have been headed to Aruba right now. So let's just make some sunshine here tonight and just put a smile on and let's have some fun. So on today's show, I want to show you some more Elvira quilts. Last Tipsy Tuesday episode, we saw about 350 quilts, I believe. So I quickly grabbed some more photos of Elvira's. Believe me, this is not a complete list. So we're going to have another slideshow a little bit later in the show. And just show you some more. They're just so much fun, and like I said, they're just as diverse as they are many, as gorgeous, each one as gorgeous as can be. So how many of you are already maybe making a second one, or at least planning a second one? That was a fun quilt, and it goes together quick, doesn't it? Now, of course, I'm here to answer all your questions live, no matter what the topic is and the topic of the show. So just post them in the comments and we will try and get to them during our live show. So, and we always love it if you are on a mobile device, use those thumbs up buttons and the hearts, because that helps spread the word about our video. And of course, even better if you hit that share button. Now, we have a lot of people joining in tonight. Very good to see. I've seen already Canada, I've seen Australia, Iceland. I believe Italy is really late there, but welcome everybody. And from the US side, I see Alaska, North Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Missouri, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Florida, and Connecticut. It's great to see everybody. Thanks for being here. Of course, if you're watching, make sure to stay with us to the end, because we have giveaways. We always have a live winner, so we will announce somebody that's watching live just randomly. My Mr. Honey producer will pick a random number and announce that during the show. And then, of course, we also have a second winner with our question, with our giveaway question. So from last week, we had a giveaway question. So we give everybody that can't watch live a chance to participate. So you can just answer the question, even if you're watching after the fact. And last week, I asked you, do you cut your leftovers into usable pieces? And our winner is Lori Colgan. And so her answer was, I usually cut up my leftovers in strips, but they aren't organized like yours are. I need to get on the stick and start doing this. That's it. Get on the stick, Lori. So congratulations, Lori. You win a gift card to use in the online GE Design store. So we will be contacting you through social media. And if you are seeing this, you can always contact us. So congrats. And I am a total enabler to get you all to go shopping, especially for fabric and quilting stuff. So a little bit, I just want to use this opportunity, since I have so many of you watching. I would like to give a huge shout out to all of our healthcare workers. If you are a doctor, a nurse, a technician, a hospital worker of any sort, emergency responder, or where you put your life on the line for us every day because of this virus, just know that we are with you in spirit and support you 100%. I know a lot of doctors and nurses are quilters as well. And so I've had multiple conversations in my classes with them, and how quilting gives them a creative outlet, something to totally take their mind off what went on in the hospital or wherever they're working. It's great stress relief and brings them comfort. So it's so important for many professions, but I just wanted to give a special shout out to our healthcare workers. So please please, if you are working, and please don't forget to use it. So just, if you can just get to your sewing machine for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, just let that hum take a little bit of your worries away and take your mind off of what you have to deal with all day long and every day. That's a great thought, and I would love to hear that. And for those of you that can't get to your sewing machines, many of you are working 12-hour shifts day after day, and just know that we are here for you. We are sewing for you, so supporting you in spirit, and everything will be there when you have time to get back to it. So will we. So most importantly, I just want to say thank you. And to all of us, we're gonna help out by just staying home and keep sewing, right? Now, it's just interesting, isn't it, how life has changed for many of us in almost an instant. How all of us are now, most of us are sheltering at home and not allowed to really go and do much, especially not congregate. Now, some of the things, things present, there's some challenges that get presented, and it's fun to see how, as we go into here where I am, into our second and third week, yes, of sheltering in place. And so I've heard all these challenges, and I'd love to hear yours. So I've heard about this fridge, and the snacks are kind of hard to resist. For example, my little issue is certain chocolate mini eggs that just keep, this bowl just keeps refilling, and it's totally my fault, because then I had to go to Walgreens and they had the big bags of those. So now that's one of my kind of challenges. But of course, a lot of other people say working out is a challenge. It's been fun now that the weather's getting better, so I got a little run in today, which was great. Now, one thing that I tackled yesterday is, of course, nail salons are closed, and I always have to kind of have nicer nails since I travel and teach, and know that I do videos that can't get all raggedy. So I had to go and get me some supplies and had to work my nails. So I started last night and got them all, ready, and I started applying the polish. So I got my left hand pretty good, but I am an absolute spaz with my left hand. So I was kind of holding off and, didn't even do my right hand. I just made dinner, and then it was just like looking really bad. So I enlisted some help. So the multi-talented Mr. Honey producer helped me out. So check that out. I got some help. He is ultra talented in all kinds of ways. So he helped me out with my left hand. Now, of course, as you probably have experienced, when you're sheltering at home, you don't really care about what you're wearing much. So it's nice that I have to at least be presentable on camera. But one of his favorite things to wear is his Christmas pajamas. So that's why you might have seen a glimpse of that. So Christmas pajamas every day, right? Who cares? Another thing, of course, you might notice that natural hair is coming. All the curls are just going to be there until I can't stand it and really want to tackle that blow dryer. But you know what? When you don't have to, it's just going to stay that way. So we're going to be all natural after a while. But that's just kind of fun, and I would love to hear some of your challenges for staying at home and what you have to tackle. Anyways, let me tell you, I'm so humbled and extremely excited about all of the gorgeous Elviras that have been popping up, and all of your amazing appreciation for that project. I get emails, multiple emails a day, and messages, personal notes that I just love to read them, and how it really helped take your mind off things for a while, for that day, and you just had fun in your sewing rooms. And many of you are just finishing now. Maybe you couldn't get to it on that day, so that's really great. And of course, the quilts are all turning out so great, and I just know there are going to be many, many more. And each one is as beautiful as the next. So I think it's time for our round 2 of Elvira quilts. So let's check out this slideshow. is fabulous. And we could probably do 20 more of these slideshows because there are so many quilts. We can't get them all in. But if you ever want to go look at some eye candy and get some ideas, just if you are in Gudrun's Quilt Crew, my group on Facebook, go into the photos and just start scrolling. You can even punch in Elvira, to type in Elvira, and then all of them will come up. And I'm sure they're going to start going into some Pinterest posts and stuff like that. So just check them all out. It's been great. But if you missed my Facebook Friday show last Friday, you may have not heard the news that I am already planning the next sew along project. Now, I talked about it during Tipsy Tuesday a little bit last week, but then it kicked off this Friday in my Facebook group on Facebook Friday at 3 p.m. last Friday. So this is the group. So if you have not joined the group, you have to do that right away. Gudrun's Quilt Crew. It is a closed group, so you just apply or just hit that join button, and then you have to answer a question or two, and then you're in, or wait for us to approve you and you're in. So of course, every year in the group, I do a strip along. And a strip along is nothing different from a sew along or a quilt along, except a little bit more fun, but we use 2.5-inch strips. And so I pick a pattern that has been out for quite a few years. I've designed so many strip patterns, and then I stripologize it. And I love to give different kind of updated versions and options that maybe are not included in the original pattern. And this is our 4th year doing this. And so this year it is going to be my strip to shore quilt. And here are all the details. Now this is not going to be a one-day thing like when we did Elvira. This is going to be broken down, and every week I will give some demo instructions on some things, on the construction of the blocks, on some cutting, and there will be handouts too. And so we kicked it off on last Friday, so you can actually go back and watch that Facebook Friday episode if you would like. But that was just really where I introduced the project and showed you what kind of fabrics I was going to use. And then this coming Friday, I'll be demoing all the cutting and how to assemble the first pieces of the block. That does not mean that you have to have everything cut by then. Please do not cut anything by then, because I'll give you the demo and then you have a whole week to catch up. And then the next 2 following Fridays, there will be, the third one will be kind of cutting our setting units and putting it all together. And then our 4th Friday, we will hopefully have some ta-da moments. So this is going to be a really fun. I usually schedule these end of April, but I decided to move it up since we're all home and needing some things to do. And everybody was so excited about the Elvira, so it was just a no-brainer. So I picked this pattern a long time ago. Now here, if this is totally new to you and this is the first time you're hearing about it, do not worry, you can still join in. Plenty of time to sew because you're gonna just sew at your own pace. And so here's what you will need for this is, of course, the pattern, which is strip to shore. And this pattern I have put it at half price in my store, both in a paper pattern or a PDF download. So it's available for only $4.50. And so go grab it in PDF. You will have it instantly. So the yardage for this quilt, you will need some 2.5-inch strips, which I just dove into my drawers that I showed you last week on my last show. And then you need a background. The quilt is actually hanging right behind me here. So here you see I used very colorful strips and then a gray background. So depending on the size of the quilt, you can use, it tells you exactly how many strips you need. 2.5-inch strips for the strip part, and then of course the yardage varies from the size. So it's 4 sizes: a crib size, lap size, a twin full, and then a queen. But you can totally alter, because there's no borders on this quilt, so you can alter the size also by adding borders and things like that. Now this quilt, and the pattern will tell you that, normally would need a 60-degree triangle ruler or a hexagon ruler. However, if you have a Stripology ruler, either the original or the XL, with that 60-degree line, you're going to be able to make this without any triangle ruler. And of course, even better if you have the trimmers, because then everything will just come together really nicely. So if you are going to participate or interested in participating, I don't want you to cut anything, cut your background at all before Friday, because I'm going to show you some alterations on how you can make things more efficient if you're going to use the Stripology ruler. I will of course also show you how you would use a 60-degree triangle ruler. You can use the Creative Grids triangle. Comes in two sizes. This is a smaller one, 8.5, and then there's a 12.5. You can use either one. There's also Creative Grids has a 60-degree diamond ruler by Krista Moser. You can use that one because it has all the lines that we need for that. And that is just if you don't have a Stripology ruler. If you have a Stripology ruler, the original or the XL, I highly recommend using that. So that is going to be very helpful if you have none of these. A couple of other ones that could work is the hexagon, I believe it's called hexagon log cabin trim tool from Creative Grids. That one works. And also the Hexan More and the Sidekick from Jaybird Quilt. Those two will work as well. So that's as far as tools. Another helpful tool, of course, are the ruler stickers, if you have those. They're going to come in handy. And like I said, the trimmers. I'll talk about the trimmers a little bit more later. Now, like I told you, the pattern, how to get the pattern, the options. So different options. What I'm going to show you, I'm going to pull up a couple of things here. So we're going to pull up the first option. So here you have the original on the left. You'll see that kind of the hexagonal circles. Each circle is made from 4 different fabrics, and they are kind of all smooshed together. And so the other option I'm going to show you in this whole strip along is how to do a simplified version. So the simplified, can you put the other back up? Yeah. So the simplified, what you will see is each hexagon circle is only made with 2 different fabrics. They're still smushed together. So then I'm going to give you another option. So let's put up the next slide. This is, you will notice that they are now spaced, both the original and then the simplified. They're spaced with a little bit of background between each hexagon circle. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And the only difference with this quilt, with the spaced, that you will need just a little bit of extra background fabric, just a little bit extra. And so I have put together this handy sheet. This is the kind of fabric requirement adjustment sheet that you can just print out from my website. So it shows you the simplified version. You actually need a little bit less strips than the original. And then if you want to do the spaced versions, it just shows you how you can alter the background fabric just a little bit. And so everything else will be the same. So what I'm talking about, 2.5-inch strips, we're talking about full width strips. You can use half width strips, absolutely, especially if you're doing the simplified version. They work well, but I recommend full width strips. And so let's see if you guys have any questions on any of this, because here, now is the time to answer it. Okay, Joe says, you mentioned in another video about knockoff rulers. How would a customer know if they have a knockoff ruler? Well, that's the thing with knockoffs. Sometimes you don't really know until you compare it with an original. So if you have any Creative Grids rulers, one thing that I've heard, I've not actually seen a counterfeit in person, but some of my colleagues have, and they were describing it to me. So one thing, the grip on the back of the Creative Grids rulers is a certain kind, and you will feel that they're all the same on all the Creative Grids rulers. So I've heard that the grip is not even close to being the same, so you will see that is very different. The thickness of the ruler is different. Ours are made with acrylic, but it's a different kind of acrylic than regular rulers are. So, but I've heard that some of the counterfeits are made from plastic, so they bend even more, so they're not as going to be as accurate. I believe some of there's both counterfeits and then there's knockoffs. There's another, it's a knockoff, and that brand used actually the SKU number on the Creative Grids rulers, on the Stripology ruler is CGR, which means Creative Grids rulers, and then it's GE1XL is the XL, and then there's 2 for the squared and 3 for the mini. And so they used actually the GE, which stands for my initials, which was kind of not fun, but it's hard to see, there's little differences. There was also, the lines were off. Anyways, Kathy asks, what time does it start on Friday? Every Facebook Friday starts at 3 p.m. Central Time when I'm home. So 3 p.m. Central, and that's when we go live. But you can watch after the facts. Now, normally, I should say this, normally when I do videos out of my Facebook groups, because it's a closed group, so it's not viewable by anybody that's not in the group, we are still going to save those shows and post them on YouTube for everybody to join in. So if you know people that are not on Facebook, they can still take part. Okay, so Carol says the one you have behind you is what? So this is the original. So this is just the original layout, with each circle has the 4 different fabrics. So that's going to be how the pattern is written. Okay, so... And oh, somebody had asked where to find this. And this is, you find this on my website under free patterns and templates. Also, every time I do any kind of event, a place to go to find all of the information is on my blog. So on my website under blog, you will find a post with all of the information and links to everything you need to find. It's just a great way to find everything in the same place. All right, Betsy says, so if cutting strictly from fat quarters, okay, can you bring that up again? Okay, you can leave them at the fat quarter length, or do you need to sew them together to be the same length as a jelly roll? No need to sew them together. Just make sure you cut the strips from the longer side of the jelly roll, so they're at least about 21 inches long strips. So that's all the difference that you need. Okay, Tina said, could you say the number of strips out of a fat quarter? So if you're cutting from a fat quarter, you will get actually 7 half width strips, which amount to 3.5 strips full width. So 3.5 from a fat quarter. From a fat eighth, you'll get a 1.5, what amounts to 1.5 full width strip. Okay, Jean Marie says, what is the cocktail for this sew along? So every Friday I give you a new cocktail. So there will be a cocktail for each portion of it. We had a cocktail last Friday. It was called the Shore Sipper because it's stripped to shore, and it was delicious. Lynn says, how much background fabric for the lap size? It depends if you're going to do the spaced or the original. So, but it's all going to be in your pattern. You can even go into the store and click on the strip to shore pattern, and the back of the pattern is there as a photo. You can see the yardage, and so and on this sheet you will have all the extra yardage that you need if you wanted to do the spaced version. Leah says, has anyone used chambray before? I haven't used it before. I'm wondering if it frays more than regular cotton. It sure does fray. I've used it many times. One thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to have a lot of, we're going to have some bias edges because we're working with a 60-degree angle. So chambray might fray even more because it's cut on the bias. So just be aware of that. And if you want to use it, I would probably just put a little magic sizing or some kind of a little bit of starch so it kind of stays in place better. All right, Lynn says, how much of the dark fabric do we need for the crib and lap pattern? Dark fabric, that's relative because you can have a dark background, you can have a light background. So I'm assuming that you are talking about the background. So if so, it's all going to be on the pattern and on this sheet. Elaine says, will there be another playlist too? Well, I think we should maybe just keep adding to the one that we already have, because I can add some songs to it. So maybe we do that. All right, so Mickey says, setting up a Zoom meeting with my sister in Colorado. That's a really great idea, so you can sew together. Kathy says, should we start? That's all up to you, personal preference. If you normally do that, keep doing what you normally do. I don't usually do that unless I'm going to be cutting everything on the bias. And in this case, it's not everything. It's just a few things, and they're pretty much smaller pieces, so I'm not going to starch. Margie says, so if I understand this correctly, there are actually 4 designs to choose from: original, simplified, original space, and simplified space. Yes. Exactly. So there are options. It's still the same pattern, but different options. So I'll show you all the options. You could even make a test of doing the original and the simplified and kind of see. You can even just sew all your blocks and then decide if you want to space them out or not. So Lori says, what is the level of difficulty for this pattern? So I would say most of my patterns are suitable for confident beginners, and some even for absolute beginners. Now, very few patterns go into intermediate. This one is kind of on the border of confident beginner into intermediate, just because we're working with those 60-degree angles. It kind of looks hard, but it's really not as hard as it looks. So I think everybody should try it. And I'm going to give you tips along the way, a lot of tips, and then support both in the group to answer questions if you have issues. And we have such a fabulous support group in the group that a lot of experienced sewers and quilters, so it's all going to be good. So if you want to try it. Don't be afraid. All right, Kim says, where's the playlist? So it's the playlist from the Elvira quilt along. Again, there's a blog post on the whole Elvira quarantine quilt along day, and there's a link to that Elvira playlist. All right. Okay, looks like set in seams. Oh, no. I don't ever do Y seams, so don't worry. No Y seams. Nothing like that in this quilt. Okay. Any other question? Will the background be cut into strips? Yes, but we may, depending on what tool you're using, we may be altering the sizes of the strips, which is why I don't want you to cut your background yet. Just leave it. We got time. All right. And so Rhonda says, so we did the Elvira. Oh, that's Jennifer. Sorry. We did the Elvira. We should be good with the strip to shore. I think so. The Elvira, of course, was bigger pieces. And if that was easy for you, this is not going to be as easy. Of course, smaller pieces too, so it's not going to go as fast as Elvira. But I think you'll be okay. I think everybody should be okay. Okay, so how many different colors of the assorted 2.5-inch strips do you recommend? I'm always the more variety, the better for me. So I try to have as many different strips as possible, but I know that's not always possible. So I think is a really good rule if you're making a scrappy quilt, if you want it to be random, to 8 is a really good number. Minimum of 8 different fabrics or colors. It could be all the same color, but different prints. So it can be anything. And if you want it more uniform, you can get away with 4. If you wanted to do just 4, you could get away with that too. But just, it's going to be your quilt. Do whatever you want. There's no police. No quilting police. All right. How many different colors should one have in their jelly strips? I just answered that question, so I don't think I have to answer that one again. Okay. Sherry says she is excited to start. Thanks for doing a quilt along for us. You are welcome. It's just fun. BJ says, how about black and white strips? Great, as long as you have a background. So the background really is going to make everything pop. So what I always recommend, take your strips, like for example, I think these are going to be mostly my strips. I'm going to use some low volumes strips and then have a pop of all these tones of turquoise and aqua and maybe more blues. I may add more to it, but so my background really has to pop from that. So I'm thinking probably a black background or a really dark charcoal background so that everything pops off of that. So you definitely want to, you can have a colored background. It doesn't have to be a neutral. Just make sure that color, that none of the strips that you have will blend in, will blend too much into that background fabric. All right. Lisa says, quilting is a journey, not a race. You do you. Exactly. And main goal is just to have some fun and sew together and work and learn some new things and some tips and have a fun time. I always talk about that in my classes, and this is no different. We should just enjoy it. All right, Annette, how do you name your patterns? Well, it's been a tough one to name my patterns. It started kind of by accident because there's so many patterns that have all these names that are, you know, triangle this and pinwheel that, and I would always kind of forget what I named them. So then I started using female names for a couple of different reasons. One being grew up and born and raised in Iceland, where female power is very in the forefront, actually probably the most advanced country with women's rights. So I grew up with a female president from 1980, and so always kind of been, you know, a little bit about that female power. So once I started naming my patterns after strong female names, they were just so much easier to remember. They were memorable. There's a connection with the name to either the pattern or where I designed it or where I made it, or sometimes a person. And it's really just really fun and unique. And then people remember those names. So it's just something I love to do. All right, Margie says, can the background be in different prints that read solid of the same color, or should it be a solid color? It can be different, of course. If it just kind of reads the same, you don't want them to be too much variety, because I think then this pattern is just going to be too wild and crazy, and you really are not going to see the uniformity of it. And I just sometimes think it's a shame. It's a shame when you can't really see the actual design. When things are too wild, but definitely you can throw in a few different ones as long as they all read the same. Okay, somebody asked about, could you fuzzy cut something to applique inside the dark hexy shape? Yes, absolutely. You do you if you like applique. I personally don't like the A word, but if you like that, that's a really fabulous idea. But it could not be cut and pieced in, because this is not one piece. Yes. All right. Okay. Let's see if we have any. Can we expect Stroll in Paris book release with cocktails? Yes, you can. More about that in a couple of weeks when I have some time to work on it. It's been so much fun get wrapped up in doing all these different fun things when you should be really working on stuff, but it's awesome. Lucy says, who is the Lucy quilt named after? Well, Lucy, if you see the cover, the quilt that's on the cover, that layout, it kind of scatters like this. So it reminded me of diamonds, like kind of the sparkly diamonds. And then, of course, the first thing that came in my head when thinking about diamonds was Lucy in the Sky. So it was Lucy. It just happened really naturally. Okay, so love your XL ruler, says Joanne. I had to leave mine in Arizona when we hightailed it home last week. Ordering tonight after Tipsy Tuesday. Any chance I could pick it up to save shipping time? I am in Plymouth. That could possibly be arranged. We could leave it outside. Of course, we don't have to keep that distance. So just email me. Email me directly, Joanne, and we can talk about that. Would a variety, Sandy's asking, would a variety of K-facet fabrics works? Absolutely. How gorgeous would this be in all kinds of different K? And then just make sure that background is really then reads as a solid. So it's tone on tone that really kind of settles them all. All right. Okay, so can you show where the block is behind you? You'll find out on Friday. Right? Find out on Friday. Okay, any other questions? Beth says, I can't get over how long I quilted without using the Stripology rulers. I can really get rid of most of my other rulers. Isn't that the truth? You really don't use much else. And if you're not using your Stripology ruler for everything, you are really missing out. So I just saw a comment earlier, somebody that had just gotten the Stripology for the Elvira quilt and was using it for the first time. And since then, I know it's only been a little bit over a week, she said, I use it for everything, and how did I ever live without it? And that's so many people feel that way. So, okay. Okay, I think we're going to move on for this. I think we got good questions. And Brenda asked, do I have an idea how many are joining in on the quilt along? You know, the numbers are going up. They've been ordering the pattern nonstop, so it's going to be a good number. The biggest strip along number we've ever had. So probably not as big as Elvira, but it's gonna be really fun. So we got all this information, so don't cut your background. And then the Facebook Friday videos will be available afterwards, of course, both in the group and then on YouTube. So just so that, and all the stuff is in the blog. So just wanted to kind of reiterate that. And one thing I wanted to answer this question. So last Friday, when I was introducing the quilt along or the strip along, we had trimmers, the point trimmers, and then we ran out because I had set just what we was able to order, what we had in house. They are being produced, but of course, with everybody being shelter in place, the manufacturer is working on, of course, probably a 20% of staff. So they are working on it, and they were hoping to get them to me this week, but we're crossing our fingers. So I opened it up for orders. Oops. There it goes. I opened it up for orders. So those of you that order the trimmers and something else too, what we're going to actually start doing, we started it a little bit today and tomorrow. We're going to ship you, if you ordered something else, if it was like a ruler or some fabric, we're going to ship that to you. We're probably not going to ship you the stickers unless you really want them. We can ship that separately. But then once the trimmers come in, hopefully this week, we will get them all out to you. And even if you don't get them before Friday, that's fine, because we're going to have all of next week to work on it. So just wanted to tell you that they are available for order, and we will get them in hopefully this week. But we can never guarantee anything until they're in-house. So just wanted to give you an update on that. And I wanted to give you a little tip. So many of you are, of course, going to probably use jelly rolls for the strip along. And I wanted to show you this little tip whenever I'm working with jelly rolls, because jelly rolls, or whatever they're called from different manufacturers, most of them have those pinked edges. And there's always this debate, should I use the outside of the pinked edge, or should the inside of the pinked edge, and where's the actual 2.5 inch mark? Well, it varies. It totally depends on the fabric manufacturer. Some strips are way over, some strips are under, so it's really hard to just generalize that. So this is what I always do when I'm working with jelly rolls. I actually take the time and just trim them. So really easy way, of course, if you have the Stripology ruler. So I actually found some strips. Let me just put this aside. So I found some strips that I think I might use, and they're jelly rolls. So these just came out of my tubs because they go in there too. So what I do, I'm gonna just lay them on my mat here and show you. So one thing you wanna do for the strip along, if you have your strips ready and you didn't cut them yourself, if you're working with jelly rolls, you know what, give them a good press. So I actually just pressed them, and then I fold them in half. So I bring that fold kind of over the selvages like this, and then I just kind of line them up on my cutting mat. And we want to make sure that fold is parallel with the bottom fold that I have now made here on the bottom. So I'm just gonna I line them up, and I'm just, like I said, using the lines on my cutting mat to make sure that they're kind of spaced evenly. And so we can do a few at a time. So I line them up, and then I can just trim them all at the same time. You want to make sure they're pretty even. Now, many of these pre-cuts from the fabric manufacturer, once you open them up, they're really bad. They have like a huge elbow in them, so they go like this. But that's okay. If they do, we can always just cut them on the fold and cut them separately. All right, so then I bring my ruler over, and I will make sure that I have a horizontal line here on the bottom fold, so they are all even. And then I check my top folds to make sure that they are even as well, and I can kind of adjust them. And then I just kind of center the 0 and the 2.5 inch slits on that strip, and then I can make just 2 cuts through the 0 and the 2.5. Now I always adjust again between the strips, because you can't line them up and just go chop, chop, chop. I readjust, and then I can just do the next two, adjust the next strip. And so what this does is that you are just trimming off a little bit of a sliver on each side, but it gives you that straight edge that you know that you can line up with your foot on your machine. So you will get a great 2.5 inch accurate strip. So you have now a perfectly straight edge. Sometimes there's a pink on it, but you see that you, even if you nicked it just a little bit, you have a straight edge. And then of course you have some fuzz. So here's my other tip. The best way to clean this up, grab a lint roller and just get rid of it all at once, and your mat is clean. So this is just a great way to increase your accuracy and make sure that everything is good. So that's one thing that you can prep before Friday. Any other questions on that? Oh, somebody said she just took all of her other rulers out of her sewing room. Clear it out. Martha said, will the Lightyear Stash Builder Bundle be back in stock soon? Unfortunately, probably not. I've been trying to get more of that fabric and it's not available. I have one other source though. Straight to the fabric manufacturer. I'm looking into that. I'm not super hopeful because it is out for a while, but I'm gonna check on it because it literally sold out as soon as we put it up. It just disappeared. Kathy says, show us the trimmers. Oh, I don't have the full pack here. I just have the one 60-degree trimmer. There's 3 trimmers in the pack, but I don't have them with me. Okay, so I do have some new Stash Builder bundles that I wanted to show you too. So are you ready to see those? So I did show you 4 new ones last Friday, just to kind of, or three new ones last Friday. So those were the Fresh Meadows. The Fresh Meadow bundles come in 2 colorways. So the blush and then the lagoon. So they're really great large scale prints. This one's kind of softer. Those blush colors, really nice pinks with just a soft sage green in there. And then the lagoon is more the darker blue colorway. And then just a little bit of that rosy red and some beautiful greens. And these are just gorgeous. So these would be perfect for like an Elvira because those big prints are so cool. And then I showed you the spring peonies. Oh, it was 4 because I showed you the light years too. Spring pansies, sorry, not peonies. Pansy, really large pansy prints. And so we have all these blues and purples, and then on the other side we have the reds into the golds. Of course, the centers of the pansies are so pretty. Now, do you have pansies on your front porch yet? We're in Minnesota, so you're not safe to buy any flowers until after Mother's Day. Then I wanted to show you, so we've had a music bundle on our website that sold out a few weeks ago, so we made a new one. So still the same theme, so musical prints in every, they're just pretty much neutrals, but this one is really, really pretty. So I just wanted to show you. So if you have a music lover, music teacher, musicians, these are just perfect. They're all kinds of instruments, notes, and into the blacks. And then just a little bit of that gray. I love these. They're so pretty. So this is our new music bundle back in stock, though I've gotten some questions about that. And then you may have heard me talk about some basics. There's one brand new bundle that I put together. You might know that I have always in stock two bundles, the Aurora bundle and then the Lupin bundle. So they are, one of them is purples, the other one is the colors of the Aurora, that both would work for my quilts from the quilts book Quilts of Iceland, the Lupin and the Aurora quilt. But this is a bundle that I've been asked about so many times, and that is my Glacial Ice quilt from that book, because I used all these colors that you can see in the glaciers in Iceland, all these taupes and beiges and grays and into the light blues and kind of dusty blues and into the darker blue. So this I have put together, I'm calling it the Glacial Ice Bundle. And I just love that. So these are just pretty much the hues that I used in my quilt and into the darkest kind of charcoal gray. So really, really pretty, soft, kind of earthy colors. So that's brand new. And then we have 3 new basic bundles. So what we also have, we have a shades of gray, we have a shades of black, we have lights, and we have a sunshine bundle, which is yellows. We have also a chartreuse bundle. So now we have a green, and these are bundles that are always going to stay. They're always going to be available. So all these different hues of green into the olive greens and light greens and bright greens. So a great little stash builder. So this is my shades of green, and then we have shades of red also available. And again, just great basics with some fun thrown in there. And we will just rotate these in and out. And so we get fabrics in, and then once we run out of one, we rotate them in. And I try always to pick kind of a variety of hues, so it's not all kind of the same red. And then our last one is, I'm calling this, just for fun, I'm calling it the chocolate bundle. Maybe the chocolate eggs are getting to my head, but browns. And so we go from the dark browns into the dark chocolate browns, and then they go into the more maybe warmer yellowy browns, into the milk chocolate, and then so all these different shades of browns. So I'm calling it my chocolate bundle because that's just more fun than a brown bundle. So these are brand new, and we are getting more and more fabric this week because all of our 1 yards got really cleaned out for after the announcement last Friday. But we're restocking. We are restocking, of course, since our business is in our home. It's a full-on family business, so all the kids are going to be working hard as well. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. So lots of new stuff, fun stuff coming. So, all right, anybody have any questions? Are the Stash Buster bundles half yards or fat quarters? They're half yards. So there's 12 different half yards. In each bundle, equals 6 yards, and the color ones are a really great deal. They're $59, so you're getting them under $10 a yard, and they're all new quilt shop quality fabrics. So it's a good deal, but you also get a great variety. You can cut them into fat quarters, of course, or you can cut them like I explained in the last show last week, where I cut my 10-inch squares, my 2.5-inch strips, and 1.5-inch strips, or you can just use them for whatever. They're half yards. They're very, very versatile. All right, so Annette says, can you use a print jelly roll for the Friday quilt? Absolutely. Then I just recommend using a more calmer background fabric. All right. How are your stickers lined on your ruler? Is it by different lines? So I use my stickers. It would all depend on what you're doing. So I'll show you that on Friday. So I will put them in place. If I'm doing a lot of the same cuts, I'll put them in place just so that I don't accidentally slip into the wrong slit or something. And then sometimes when I'm squaring up, I like to line them up in the middle when I'm lining things up in a block and stuff like that. So they're really, really great. All right, any other questions on this? Will you be educating us on the other trimmers in the pack? Oh yeah, absolutely. Keep following me and we'll get through them all for sure. Okay, this was the question I just answered before. All right, Lucy says, this is what I'll be doing tomorrow, straightening my jelly roll. Yeah, trim the fuzz off. Defuzz them. Somebody asked, did I invent the Stripology Ruler? Yes, I designed the Stripology Ruler. All 4 of them. Okay, explain the arrow stickers on your ruler. These are my arrow stickers that I designed as well, invented and designed. So there are 3 different sheets in the pack. And they're little arrows, but the material will not leave any residue on your ruler, so you can move them around. They're just little arrow stickers like this. You can move them around, use them a few times, and they will never leave any residue on your ruler. I like it because it's an arrow, so you can point it at really detailed things, and just really helps when you're doing a lot of cutting of the same stuff. So we'll definitely be using those. I'll show you better how to use them. Will batiks works for the strip to shore? Absolutely. It'd be gorgeous in batiks. And if you're not in Gudrun's Quilt Crew yet on Facebook, join that, and you will probably see a bunch of strip to shores in there already, because I've been teaching this pattern for a while, and so a lot of people in the crew have already made it, and they're making a second one. So that's how fun that pattern is. It's really fun. All right, so we're gonna move on. I think Kathy says I need more money to buy these fabrics. Sorry, can't help you with that, but it's a good deal. It's a good deal. Anyways, just if you didn't know, to get all the information, the blog, the website, where everything is to order, there's also links in the description of this video. I put links for everything to find everything, but here's the website. Just so you know, we are going to announce the live winner. Who is our live winner? Doris Dale, congratulations. You get a gift card to go shopping in the GE Design store. So that's awesome. Congratulations, Doris. And then now everybody else has a chance to enter in the second part of the giveaway, which is all you have to do is answer this question and in the comments, and you'll be automatically entered. And so my question is, how many quilts do you have on your couch right now? Because a lot of people have been watching a lot of Netflix and all this stuff. So I want to know how many quilts are on that couch. On mine, there's two, one on each couch. Well, and then if you count the basement couch, there's a bunch. There's a bunch there. But definitely, I have my favorite. Mr. Producer has his favorite. So we are always set with a quilt on there. Now, just let me know in the comments your answer, and you're automatically entered. And make sure, I would love for you to share the video. If all you have to do is hit that share button, and we can keep making more videos. I hope you're enjoying our weekly shows now. 2 a week. How great is that? Because I am not traveling anymore at this moment. Now, our next Tipsy Tuesday will be next week, April 7th at 7 p.m. Central Time, and I will have a fun topic and a demo for you, something cool, and of course updates on the strip along. And if you're in the crew, of course, I'll be live this Friday, Facebook Friday at 3 p.m. And of course, I started off with a cocktail for you every time. And then, of course, the first demonstration of the strip along. So I hope I will see you all there. But thank you so much for being with me tonight. I will see you next time.